The Queen of the Villains is incredible, and you must watch this. This is one of the best pro wrestling TV series I've ever seen. It is on Netflix. It's definitely worth checking out. It tells the story of a little girl who sees pro wrestling as an escape from her life, and she ultimately becomes this massive wrestling superstar with obstacles along the way. But yeah, let's just discuss this series. There will be spoilers, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, back out now. But yeah, this is an incredible series. It's worth checking out, and I'm just gonna talk about it, give my thoughts. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So Kara Matsumoto is this little girl who is living in Japan, and she sees her parents in this abusive relationship. Her father is this alcoholic, cheating, abusive husband who's in debt. He beats the mom. He asks for money. He's this real prick. He calls his kid's fat. He's just real physically and verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, whatever it may be, to both his children and his the mother of his children. So she kind of sees this at a very young age, and she realizes that this is not normal. This is not how things should be. So she kind of uh, is looking for a way out of this predicament. And while she's walking around in Japan, she comes across these women train in professional wrestling inside a wrestling ring, and it's something she's never seen before. So she kind of just sits there and watches them for a little while. And what she sees is this woman get beaten down, but not give up. She gets kicked, she gets punched, she gets suplexed, she gets thrown around, all this type of stuff. But she just keeps getting up and just keeps fighting back no matter what. And she kind of sees this as a mirror for her life. Pro wrestling is mirroring her life of getting beaten down but not giving up, and that she took this to heart. So she sees this woman who she later finds out to be Jackie Sato, and she sees her just not give up, just never give up, just keep fighting back no matter what, and she becomes a massive fan of her. So she ends up watching her through her childhood and teenage years at the arena. She just goes to watch pro wrestling and is this huge fan of her, and she becomes this child who wants to become a pro wrestler based off of seeing Jackie do this, and it's something she desperately wants to do. And the company is having pro wrestling tryouts, and she desperately wants to do this, but she's working at the time. It kind of conflicts with the time of the tryouts, and she almost uses it as an excuse to not go for the tryouts. She's like, "Yeah, I really want to do this, but I have to work." So she kind of uses it as an excuse to kind of maybe not be let down of not being able to do it, whatever it may be. She desperately really wants to do it, but she's using it kind of as an excuse to not go. But she comes across this guy at, I think he was at like a food truck or something like that, and she mentions that she wants to do this tryout but she can't because of work, and he tells her that, like, hey, if you live the way you want to live, you win in the end. So if you go and chase your dreams, whether you achieve those dreams or not, at least you know you tried and you didn't suppress your dreams and never went for it. So if you go for it, at least you tried it, and you'll be happy in the end. And she took this to heart. So she ends up quitting her job to go to the tryout based off of her desperately wanting to do it, and this guy telling her that if you live the way you want, in the end you'll be happy. She goes to the tryout, doesn't go too well, but she doesn't let that stop her. Something that she heard in the tryout, or from someone, I don't remember exactly, but this is something that they say throughout the series, is the only thing you can do is get stronger, and that goes for pro wrestling and in life. They mentioned throughout the thing, in pro wrestling, the only thing you can do is get stronger, and the same thing in life. The only thing you can do is get stronger. Just keep attacking. Just keep trying to improve. The only thing you can do is get stronger. So that was something she took from that, and took to heart, and would let that kind of be her mantra, if you will. It's mentioned throughout the series. The only thing you can do is get stronger. So you jump ahead a little bit. She has her debut match in the backstage area. She kind of is ignored by like the more experienced wrestlers, the seniors and stuff like that. Her and her friend Chigusa um, are ignored by the people who have more experience than her. So they go out to have drinks, which is something they should not have done. That was against the rules. They gave them a few rules, like you can't have boyfriends, you can't go out for drinks, things of that nature. But they went out and had drinks, And yeah, there's just a bunch of backstage stuff happening, backstage politicking, double crosses, going into business for yourself, a bunch of that stuff, just a bunch of wrestling stuff that she sees early on. And yeah, her closest friend in these early stages was Chigusa. Chigusa would go on to have success much earlier than Karo would. She became a part of the Crush Gals, who became the biggest baby faces in the company. They were this tag team who were main eventing, selling out arenas. Just every little girl, every older girl just wanted to be them. And they were just massive baby faces. And in this one promo that Chigusa had, she mentions that her partner Linus Asuka was the person who was always there for her, always had her back, always supported her no matter what. When in reality, it was Karo who was the person who kind of always had her back, always supported her. But she was a heel at the time, so obviously, as the babyface, you don't want to say that one of the heels in the company was the one who supported you. So whether that was just Chigusa keeping kayfabe alive or not, Karo took it to heart, whether it was not true or whether it was true, because they were kind of distancing themselves at this time in their careers, but they were best friends early on and supporting each other. But yeah, Chigusa mentioned that her partner was the one who always supported her, not Dump, and this is where Karo just took the Dump character and doubled down on it. She wanted to be the biggest heel in the company. This lit a fire under her, knowing that Chigusa, who was her best friend and is now the biggest star in the company and in Japanese wrestling at the time, didn't acknowledge that it was her who supported her. Just lit the fire under her to become this big bad heel, bigger and badder than ever, to kind of get her career off to the next step. And yeah, it happened. So she kind of doubled down on everything. She let the character overtake her real life. She was just this violent, attacking bad guy character. She would have like these violent, bloody matches. She would attack referees. She would scare fans off. When the match ended, she would still attack her opponent and just go like above and beyond to be this terrible, bad person. So much so that it affected things in her personal life. Her boyfriend, or her sister's boyfriend rather, broke up with her sister because of the character of Dump Matsumoto that she was playing on television. She was just this terrible heel that like even her boyfriend, her sister's boyfriend, didn't want to be with her because of it. Um, and because Chigusa were like the big baby faces in the company, they didn't want to have anything to do with this heel character. So yeah, she was such a good heel that her family kind of distanced themselves from her. She kind of ruined some of her relationships based off of this, because she was at this point in her career where it's like, okay, do I double down on this heel character even though I know it's affecting my personal life? Or do I kind of bring it back a little and not do it? And she chose to double down on it to elevate her career. So she was in the predicament of elevate my career and kind of ruin some of these personal relationships, or do I just kind of reach my peak and I never reached the real heights that I wanted to? And she decided double down on the heel character, just live the gimmick. She lived the gimmick and it ruined some of her relationships, but it worked for her career. She goes on this huge run. She's the biggest heel in the company. Her biggest rivalry is with Chigusa, because she's the biggest babyface in the company, and now Dump is the biggest heel in the company. So they were best friends at the start. They kind of distanced themselves from each other, and one of them became the biggest babyface in the company, and the other became the biggest heel in the company. So it's this real cool story of we started out together and we were best friends. Things kind of happened, and now we are both main event in this company together. I'm the bad guy, you're the good guy, and let's just make money together. So yeah, they had this huge violent rivalry between the two. Chigusa just super babyface. Everything she did, the fans loved, and Dump Matsumoto, this massive heel. Everything she did, the fans hated. They despised her. They wanted her to lose no matter what. They wanted bad things for her, just the character and the actual person. But yeah, Chigusa and Dump have this hair versus hair match, this hair versus hair death match, if you will, and this is fantastic. It's obviously a Netflix series, so it's not going to be pro wrestling, but the way they are able to portray this on television is it's very good. It's more dramatic than any Texas death match, any death match in current wrestling that you will see. The drama in this is high, and it's just a real intense match. So they did a good job of making this play out on Netflix the way maybe even better than it would have come across if it was an actual pro wrestling match. This match is on YouTube. So I went back and watched this just because I wanted to see the real match. So the hair versus hair death match between Chigusa and Dump is on YouTube. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But yeah, they did a good job. It's real accurate to how the actual match went. The Netflix match is more bloody, just to kind of elevate things for the series. But in the actual match, they have the crowd in the palm of their hands. Anything they do is getting cheered, is getting booed. The crowd is vocal throughout the entire thing. They are fully invested in this. To have Chigusa win and have Dump Matsumoto lose and lose her hair. Ultimately, that does not happen. Dump does win the match, and Chigusa is the one who needs to shave her head. But yeah, this match on the Netflix series is incredible, and watching it on YouTube is worth the watch as well, just because of how invested they had these fans in this match. But yeah, Dump Matsumoto did it. She went from this child who saw pro wrestling as a way to escape the struggles of her real life and um, just something to give her to throw herself into. And she did that. She threw herself completely into pro wrestling. Even though at the start things were tough for her, she wasn't as athletic as some of the others. She wasn't as in good shape as some of the others, but she had this passion for it, and she would not let anything stop her from achieving this. Even her family, even if ruining relationships is what was needed to reach the peak that she did of becoming a main eventer. She did that. She did everything in her power to achieve her dreams. Um, but she does realize that it is affecting her relationship, and she ends up getting this call that her father is in the hospital. And this is kind of where she reconnects with her mother. They're in the hallway as her father is in the hospital, and they think he is going to die here. So she kind of reconnects with her mother, and they kind of have this moment of like, I love you, even though things haven't gone the best. I love you no matter what. And they find out that her father has had a successful surgery. He should be okay. But this is kind of where she kind of puts things into perspective. She realizes that even though this is everything she ever wanted in pro wrestling, it has ruined her relationships. And is it worth it? Is ruin the relationship she has with her mother and her sister worth this professional wrestling superstardom? And ever since this moment, going forward in her pro wrestling career, she kind of was leaning more towards retirement. She was leaning towards, okay, this is probably coming to an end soon. Maybe my relationships are more important than this professional wrestling career. I've already done everything I can. I've made a lot of money. I've main evented. I've achieved my dreams. And maybe it's time to kind of take a step back and be Karu again, not be Dump Matsumoto anymore. Be the real person. So ever since this interaction with her mother in the hospital, she kind of is like wrestling might be nearing the end, and it does. She has this retirement match versus the Crush Gals, this real violent match that was ruled a no contest. And then after the match, Chigusa, who was obviously part of the Crush Gals, asks her like, "Is this really how you want it to end? You want your wrestling career to end this way?" Because they knew it was her retirement match. And ultimately, that's not the way she wanted to end. The way it does end is they set up another tag match that same night, right afterwards, right after it was ruled a no contest, where Chigusa and Dump team up against Lioness Asuka and her partner. So Chigusa and Dump Matsumoto, who started their careers as these young girls who just want to make it in the pro wrestling business, and then they both become the biggest stars in the company, biggest babyface and biggest heel in the company, are now concluding their careers. Well, at least Dump is concluding her career, teaming up with Chigusa, the biggest babyface, while she's still the biggest heel, teaming up together in this match where it just everything kind of comes together. The person you started with is the person you're gonna end with, and Chigusa, Dump, Lioness Asuka, and her partner just have this match where they're just having fun. They're just doing it for the love of pro wrestling, doing it for what they dedicated their lives to, and it's just something they get enjoyment out of. But yeah, that was her retirement match. She teamed up with Chigusa, her former best friend, her former biggest enemy, and now her friend again, in what was an exciting match for all of them involved. But yeah, this series was incredible. I had no real knowledge of Dump Matsumoto or the Crush Gals or anything like that really beforehand. I have gone back and researched stuff to kind of figure out more about them. And according to Meltzer, the Crush Gals were like the biggest thing in Japan. There's been things stated that like they were as big as Hogan in the 80s in Japan. So that's insane that a women's tag team would be that huge in Japan, but it's just a testament to how over they were and how important they were to Japanese professional wrestling at the time. So yeah, this was a cool series for me to find out about. It's definitely going to make me look up more All Japan women's wrestling. Just kind of dive into that a bit. But yeah, I definitely recommend checking this series out. The Queen of Villains on Netflix. Dump Matsumoto just doing some great heel work. The Crush Gals being the biggest baby faces in the country at the time, apparently. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. I highly recommend it, and it was worth the watch.